Good Monday to you, everybody in COM 731. Welcome to week boom 2. How's everybody doing? You settling in, getting into the rhythm of things now after some time off for the summer, which I hope you had. Okay, let me much better. Okay, to get things started the way we should. Now I am your sufficiently caffeinated communication instructor. How you doing? So for those of you who have not had me before, what you can expect from me each week is 2 videos. The first of which is a look at the week coming ahead. Week 2. We're going to look at the readings, talk about any deadlines that are coming up that you should be aware of, and then typically Tuesday or so, I'll post a second video in which I look back at the work that you did the week before. I'll give you some feedback, all right, on, say, in this case, your discussion post. I typically do not grade discussion posts until the middle of the semester, so I'll grade discussion post 1 through 8, and then 9 through 15, because we really don't have a week 16 with modular week and all that sort of stuff. All right, so let's get started with the discussion of this week's material. Now, for those of you who are new to Canvas, and it's we're all trying to navigate it. Each week, you should say Monday morning, log on, check the announcements. Now, what I'm trying to do, in addition to sending out the announcements, is send you an email whenever I post a video like this, and sort of give you a heads up. But come on into the course anyway, check the announcements, then go immediately to the modules. All right. And week by week, I will post the modules. I don't post all the modules at once. This is not a work at your own pace kind of course. So look for the modules for week 2, and you'll always find 3 sections to it: the overview, the study, and the assignments. In the study section, this is going to be the material for this week. We're going to continue to read Hoke et al. Everything Connects. Now, I know there were some of you who had some difficulty getting a hold of your books. So, last week I included a little article, very short, from Hoke, from his website. It was, I think, a Business Insider. All right, and asked you to discuss that. If you experienced a delay in getting your books, and you're getting them in week 2, yes, go back, respond to the questions in week 1, respond to your classmates. For those of you that had the books, go back and check in week 1. This is the last time that we're going to do this, but go back and check in week 1 for people who have just posted their material, who are just responding to you. And then, we'll get back into the flow of things as we get on the other side of week 2. Okay. So, this is a different sort of text. This is sort of, you see these books, some of them good, some of them not so good. The not so good ones you'll find in airport bookstores, books that are sort of the 5,000 feet, 3,000 feet, whatever number you like view. That is the big picture. This is how you think about leadership. This is how you think of creativity. This is how you think of working together within an organizational structure. All right. These things, these overview items, are extremely important insofar as they orient you in dealing with the particulars. And let me recommend that to you by way of your development as communication professionals and communication doctors. All right, we have a tendency as human beings to get very focused on the particular. And as the old expression goes, we look at the forest, we look at the tree, and we forget the forest. Or the expression goes, you miss the forest for the trees. That is, you're looking at this thing, and you forget about the bigger picture. All right. In your development as communication professionals, and as PhDs, try to bear in mind that your major task is not so much to memorize every author and every theory and every name of every text. I mean, that's important. You have to have bricks if you're going to build a wall, right? You have to have, if you're going to build a building, whatever structure you like. So yes, you have to have an understanding and a memorization of the particulars of the authors, of their texts, of the major theories. But of greater importance is you have to have an awareness and an understanding of how these things go together and how and where to go find out if you don't know. All right. I would recommend to you that the skill that you're developing most, not just in this class, but throughout your PhD program as a PhD, is the skill that allows you to, if you don't know the answer, and I've been in academia for over like 25 years now, I don't have all the answers, stuff that I don't know. But what I have is a highly developed capacity, skill set to go and find out, and the ability to determine good resources from poor resources, bad resources. That's where this sort of overview approach to things will serve you well. All right. So if you're reading through Hoke and you're going, this kind of sounds kind of fuzzy. Don't know where this guy is going exactly. And I'm picking this up from some of your comments about week 1, the readings. All right. There's method in the madness. Hope, not mine. Okay. So for this week, continue reading. So when you come into Blackboard, sorry. When you come into Canvas, go immediately to the modules. The overview will give you the overview. The study will give you what it is that we're doing this week. And then the assignments, all right, will say this is what you're actually being held accounted for. And in there, you'll find the links to the discussion questions. Typically 4. I added a 5th one last year for people who hadn't received their texts, right? But normally only 4. And yes, I'm sorry, there was some slight confusion because I had 2 different numbers in 2 different places about how many of your classmates I want you to respond to. The number is 3. All right, so 4 posts, 3 responses to each post. Okay, that's what we are looking for. All right. Additionally, for this week, in this semester, you are going to do a semester paper. You're also going to have a final exam. But for this semester, you are going to do a research paper. All right. If you will please, when you get in for this week, if you will go to, and again, you'll see this in the modules, because under modules, under assignments, I'm gonna put anything. I'll give you there. I'm going to give you the core of the week's work, and then I'm going to give you a heads up, for anything that's coming, due dates and stuff like that. So, because you're juggling a lot. All right. So anyway, so go to the assignment tab in the modules, or you can go directly to assignments. The way Canvas works is everything gets cross-listed. All right. And you will see in there the review sheet, the instruction sheet for your semester paper. I'm not going to go too deeply into it because I want you to read it. All right. But suffice to say that in this class, you're asked to produce a semester paper whose, your topic focuses on some aspect of organizational communication in a digital age. Now, what you might be asking, what do you want to do? I'll tell you what I'll do. I will put up a special discussion board today, right after I make this video, in which you post your topics and then you give each other some feedback. All right. So everybody gets your topics up. All right. But going back to the instructional sheet, I like to break these semester papers into smaller parts, specifically 2. Okay. So I have 2 separate deadlines for 2 parts of your paper. Now, you're not doing 2 papers. You're doing 1 paper in 2 parts. All right. The first part is due September 24th. So that is, less than a month from now. Okay. And in this part, the first one, you're going to write an introduction. You're going to write an annotated bibliography, and you're going to write a methodology section. And in the introduction, you're going to tell me, what it is you're focusing on, why, what's the rationale, See, here's the gift of academics is it's at the simultaneously is at the same time the burden. And you know what that duality is? Well, I'm going to tell you. The gift is, and this is a rarity in um, the arc of one's work life. The gift of academics is that you get to work on whatever it is you want, whatever it is that you feel is important, is necessary, that the rest of us should hear, deserves more study, hasn't been explained well enough, it has been explained, but it got explained all wrong. You get to decide. That's the gift. Aha! Flip that coin over is the burden. You have to develop the communication skills, the set of skills up to a level in which you can justify to the rest of us, the reading public, why we should give a darn. Okay. And if you cannot do that, if you cannot justify why in the world should I care, then you don't get the gift. If you don't bear the obligation, well, the justification, the explanation, the gift is taken away because nobody reads your stuff. And those that do go, meh, why am I reading this? All right. That's what you're doing in the introduction. You're telling the reader why this is worth his or her time. All right. Then you're going to do an annotated bibliography. Look at the instruction sheet, and I tell you a little bit about annotated bibliographies, but I strongly encourage, if you do not know what an annotated bibliography is, look it up, okay? And Google is your friend. And then finally, you're going to write your methodology section. And if you do not know the difference between, say, the major methodological approaches, qualitative, quantitative, and within those different approaches, what's what, look it up, all right? You're going to be called doctor, and you are going to be excellent doctors, all right? But with those letters comes expectation. See, the rest of the public out there, the percentage of people in the U.S. that have PhDs is about 1%. It's less than 1%. So the other 99 something are going to look at you, and they're going to make an assumption because we as humans need symbols of authority. And that's not being cynical, just how the brain works. They're going to see the capital D lower R period before your name, and they're going to assume that you're the expert. All right. And therefore, to the best of your ability, you need to be the expert. You need to know what method, when we say what's your methodology, what that means. You need to know what an annotated bibliography is. You need to know how to construct a clear, concise, and convincing introduction. Okay, so that's your job, and everybody. This is what we're called to do. Your work. Do your work. I divide these papers in two, though, so I can give you some feedback. All right, I am here. My utmost concern is to help you develop as a professional individual. I'm not here to beat you up. Not here to waste your time. I'm not here to just hand you stuff. I'm here to help you develop as a professional. All right, every single one of you. So I split these papers into two because I'm going to give you very detailed feedback about your paper. And this includes your writing style, your writing style, your research, and your organizational abilities. Now, you always hear it said, writing is a process and research is a process and it's a development and et cetera, et cetera. I agree. And my approach is that if it's a process that you get better at as you do, we're going to treat it that way. So in all of my classes, I will give you a score on part one. And depending on your score, if your score is below a certain level, I may send you a note saying, hey, we have to talk. We should talk. Let me try to see where you're at in terms of your writing ability, your research knowledge, your terminological knowledge. And I may suggest additional resources to you. Okay. But I'll give you a score. And then when you do part two, which is the completion of the paper, if you fix the things that I point out in part one, and you continue to do the things that you do well from part one in part two, All right. So you fix what needs to be fixed. You continue to do what is successful in the second part, and in the totality of your paper that you turn in, I'll give that a score. If that score is higher, I'll go back and change the score that you got for part one and bring that up higher. Now, this is just I mean, I only raise scores from part one. If you get a score on part one that's up here and you get a score on the final thing on part two, I'm not going to go over and lower it, because that defeats the purpose. So in part one, if you get a score that you're not really happy with, and you can, I make myself very available, after I turn these around, I try to turn them around in a week. And if you want to talk and say, hey, I'm not understanding, what are you trying to say here? Great. Right. That's what the exercise, splitting it into two, is designed for. Okay. All right. So for this week, week 2, continue to read Hope, answer the discussion questions, get that sheet that details the paper, and then I will post a link in the discussions for you to post your topics, and I'll give you some feedback, and we're going to have a great week. Come tomorrow, after I've had a chance to read through your discussions of the questions from last week, I'll post another video in which we go over that. Okay, everybody. For those of you that had me before, it's great to see you back. And those of you who haven't, I'm really, really pleased that you're here. I think about you a lot. I pray about you. I want you to have a great week, and I will see you on Canvas. I was going to say Blackboard again. Okay, bye-bye, everybody.